Thank you, Judin. Taking a look at some breaking news, an employee attached to the US Embassy in Colombo had refused to undergo PCR testing at the Bandar Naika International Airport upon arrival. PCR testing is carried out at the BIA to determine if a passenger has contracted the coronavirus. Speaking to News First, Deputy Chairman of Airport and Aviation Services Limited, Rajiv Suryarashi said the US national in question was released without being subject to PCR testing as he used diplomatic privileges. The US national had arrived in Sri Lanka at 1:30 this morning aboard a Qatar Airways flight. The US Embassy in Colombo said US diplomatic staff complies with the norms and procedures outlined in international conventions on diplomatic relations. Stay tuned to News First as we bring you more details on this developing story.
An American official, he who must not be named, entered Sri Lanka via the Bandaranaike International Airport today, and when asked to submit to a PCR test, he refused to do so, citing he had diplomatic credentials. Now, the question posed to everyone is, can you refuse testing, diplomat or not, and is it a violation of your privacy? Well, as any argument goes, there are two sides to it. There are people who are for it and those against. And according to what I've learned online, patients can refuse testing if the test or the treatment pertains to an individual and not the society as a whole. This doesn't apply for COVID-19. Our world has changed and we have to re-examine the laws and regulations pre-COVID-19. So why did the American diplomat refuse to get tested? The procedure isn't necessarily an invasive one and millions of people all around the globe have been tested. Could it be some sort of misguided elitism? You know, the I'm American, you can't test me, we give you money. Or was it racism? So what if a few more third worlders contract the disease and die? They aren't Americans. But then again, merely being American isn't enough. You need to be the right shade of American, or countrywide riots are needed to be heard. Whatever the reasons were, the Sri Lankan officials weren't permitted to do their jobs, and they must be given the authority to deny entry to those who aren't willing to comply with the laws of the land. And getting tested for the coronavirus shouldn't be considered a hassle. The whole world has been on lockdown for the past few months, and Sri Lanka is no different. But thanks to the brave men and women of the Sri Lankan government, the medical staff and the military, we have been able to attain some sort of normalcy. Businesses are opening up, the financial institutes and government institutes are up and running, and all of these advances that we have made will all be for naught if some jackass thinks he can go ahead and do whatever he wants.